If you've got some revenues and you've got happy customers, then the time is now to actually drive scalable growth for your SaaS business. Here's the thing though, there's hundreds of different ways to actually generate demand for your SaaS company. But there's 10 really great ways. But the question is, what are they? How do you actually pick the right one for your SaaS business? How do you actually establish a strategy? And how do you execute on it to drive scalable growth? In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know on how to adopt a scalable go-to-market framework so you can accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, if you're a customer of one of my SaaS companies, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Over the last 4 years, I've coached over 250 SaaS founders on how to actually develop a go-to-market strategy, execute on it, and drive growth for their SaaS businesses. These numbers are astounding. The fact that it's been 4 years has been astounding. In fact, we were just uploading our new testimonial videos from founders in the go-to-market program. We added 20 on top of what we already had, and it was just incredible to see the trophies we've given out. So it's been really cool. But through the 4 years, through all of these companies, I've found that there's certain principles that apply the most when it comes to adopting a scalable strategy to drive growth for your SaaS business. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know so that you too know how to actually accelerate growth. If you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let's dig right into it. Okay, so the first thing that you really need to understand when it comes to a go-to-market framework is there's essentially you and there's your ideal customers. These ideal customers exist on the internet, they exist in the real world, and they just don't know about you yet. And ultimately, the whole point of a go-to-market framework and a go-to-market strategy and actually scale growth is that more people, more of your ideal customers know about you today than yesterday, and tomorrow than today. The more effective you are in doing that in a scalable way, the more successful you're going to be, the more revenues you're going to make, and the quicker you can get to that next stage of growth. Principle number 1 is to know what are the key ways you can get discovered by your ideal customers. There's a few different ways that we've seen. The first one is inbound, where they come to you. And the second way is outbound, where you actually go to them. And the third way is partners, where you actually partner with another company that already knows your ideal customers. But the whole point of this is you're trying to get introduced or you're trying to get discovered by your ideal customers. That's what this is. Now, when you break this down between inbound, outbound, and partners, there's some specific ways that come into play that you could use. The first one is you could go on social media. Social media meaning LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, and you can post educational content, you can post helpful content, and your ideal customers will discover you and then start to engage with your brand. Another way you can do it is you can write content on your blog and discover it through SEO, search engine optimization, meaning your ideal customers are going out there, going on Google and searching for things, and then they discover a blog post or your homepage or something related to your brand, and they start to learn more about you and they discover you, and then eventually they become a customer. The other way you can do it is you can go to all of these platforms that I just talked about and you can pay them. And you can say, I will pay you, please target this to my ideal customers, and I want them to discover me, like me, trust me, and then eventually buy from me. So those are 3 different ways you can do it. And in these cases, ideal customers come to you. Whenever they come to you, they're more likely to buy from you because you're not pitching them out of nowhere, so the trust is a little bit higher. Outbound. There are different ways you can actually do outbound. You can actually email your ideal customers. They don't know you yet, but you can get their email addresses through databases, and you can choose to spam them or you can personalize it. Ideally, you should personalize because spamming doesn't work anymore. And you can reach out to them and introduce yourself to them, and now they discover you. The other thing you can do is you can call them. There are dialers out there, and there are cold callers out there, there are services out there, and you can call every single one of your ideal customers and start to introduce your services to them. And the last one, which is often forgotten, is you can send them a FedEx envelope. A FedEx envelope has a 99% open rate, meaning if you get a FedEx envelope, you're gonna open it. It just costs a lot of money. Theoretically, you could send a FedEx envelope to every single one of your ideal customers and they will most certainly discover you. It's just that it costs a lot of money, so your deal sizes better be worth it. So that's outbound. The third way is partners. You can go into marketplaces. So HubSpot has a marketplace, the Chrome Web Store is a marketplace. There are different marketplaces where you can list yourself and customers go to those marketplaces to look for solutions and they could discover you. You could also go to another company and ask them to co-market or sell for you. There's another bigger SaaS company or type of company that sells to the same ideal customers that you do. You could tell them like, hey, here's our offering. Can you sell it to all of your customers? And we'll give you a revenue share, or we'll give you a referral fee or something like that. And then lastly, you can also go to events. I consider this under partnerships. There are other companies that throw all these events. You could go to them, you can have a booth, you can host a dinner, you can get on stage. And when you do all those things, your ideal customers, ideally at a type of event where your ideal customers hang out is where you would partner. Your ideal customers will discover you and then engage with you. So this is principle number one. I wanted to lay out the chessboard of all the different ways you can get your ideal customers to discover you. And this is essentially the thing that what we're really trying to do whenever we say go to market. Go to market is all about how do we go to the market where our ideal customers are spending time, and how do we educate them about the problem that exists in their lives, the solution that we have, and why we're 10 times better than anyone else in the market, and that's why they should buy from us. That's essentially the key ways to do it. Now, there are some traps here. Before I go to principle number 2, which talks about how do you actually pick these, which one do you focus on, there are some traps. So let's eliminate some of these. If you are in initial scale, meaning you're not at 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, 100 million, you don't have a brand yet, co-marketing and co-selling usually is a waste of time. The bigger companies aren't really going to trust you with their customer base, because their customer base is the most important thing to them. So they're gonna say, hey, look, we'll meet with you, we'll have coffee with you, we'll take your time, maybe we'll partner with you down the line, but right now, this is not right. You just need to figure out your own way of getting to your ideal customers and getting them to trust you. Once you do that and you're big enough, then we'll partner together because then we know we can trust you. The other thing that's often a trap is SEO. If you're at initial scale and you're trying to scale to that bigger stage of growth, SEO has a return time of anywhere from 6 months upwards of 18 months. So if you're posting a bunch of content, it may take 6 to 18 months to actually start generating traffic, let alone revenue. So if you're trying to scale now, this is not necessarily the best thing to spend time on. It's not the fact that it doesn't work, it's just that it just takes some time to actually get results. So you may want to pick this up later and focus on channels that are a little bit more valuable right now. Marketplaces are a really appealing one, but the key to marketplaces is to get listed and get reviews. The quicker you get listed and the quicker you get reviews, the more customers you're going to get. So if you have a good number of customers, you can get listed on a marketplace and you can get them to write reviews, and that marketplace will reward you with more customers. But if you're still at initial scale, you can't get enough 5-star reviews, then you're kind of going to be a dead listing in a marketplace. So oftentimes this is a waste of time in the early stages as well. Those eliminate some of the ones that might waste some time, they're traps, and go to market. And that way it starts to help you focus on, all right, there's some traps out there, maybe not now, maybe when we're truly scaling, we can start to put these into play. What do we focus on right now? So this is where principle number 2 comes into play. Principle number 2 is knowing which channels to focus on and which ones to deprioritize. Now I already eliminated some, but there's a certain pattern you really want to know about. Let's actually use a different marker for this. One of the things that people conflate, especially when they're thinking about growth and go to market, is the difference between marketing and sales. When you think about inbound, inbound is primarily a marketing activity. Marketing is inherently one-to-many, meaning one person in your team does it, maybe the founder, if you're founder-led at this point, or some member of your team that owns marketing, and it impacts a lot of people. So it's one-to-many. Sales tends to be one-to-one. The reason it's one-to-one is because in order to really stand out on a cold email, a cold call, or even a FedEx envelope where you're sending someone something, you really need to personalize it. The days where you can send out 10,000 emails and yield results just aren't there right now. You could do it, but the results are just not going to be compelling, and it may actually burn your brand. In order to actually make outbound work, you'd actually need to personalize how you're reaching out to people. And in order for that to work, you actually need to be very one-to-one. You need to actually think about each person you're reaching out to. So it's not like marketing. This is actually more like sales. The better you are at marketing, the more scale you have, and the easier the sell is, because by the time people come to you, they're actually already primed on your message and what you guys do and how you differentiate. So the sales process is a lot easier. But if they're hearing about you for the first time and they've never heard of you, then whoever's in the sales role has a much harder job in order to convince people that they can trust you, which is why the most successful companies that are driving scale make sure that they actually do marketing and sales. You want to do marketing where you're driving inbound and people are coming to you. And as you're doing that, you're raising the awareness. You're also going outbound to the same people that are coming to you and others in the market so that they also discover you. So it's not the first time they're hearing from you. When you combine these two, that's when you're going to be the most effective in driving your go-to-market strategy. And the thing is, this essentially is what we call direct. You're going direct to your customers. This is what we call indirect. And in the early stages of scale, it can be really appealing to say, look, we don't have a marketing team, we don't have a sales team, so we're just gonna go partner. But the thing is, they're not gonna trust you. These indirect channels are not gonna trust you yet. So you have to figure out how to go direct to your customers. And the best way to do that is to combine both marketing, which is one-to-many, and sales, which is one-to-one. And the thing to remember is the more you do in marketing, by the time you do outbound or email someone and call someone or send them a FedEx envelope, they will already have heard of you at least once, and that way they're more likely to engage with you. Whereas if you don't do any marketing and just only do outbound, then you're starting from scratch and they don't know you yet, and you can't automate it, so you have to be personalized. So you're doing it one-to-one, it's not very scalable, and it's an uphill battle. Not to say it doesn't work, it's just an uphill battle. The best companies that I know actually do both to actually drive scale. Before I go into principle number 3, because you might be saying, all right, TK, which ones do I prioritize and how do I actually get this going? Let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? One of the biggest reasons I love this channel and I love doing these videos is I take common questions that come to me from founders exactly at your stage, and I try to dispel all the crap that doesn't matter and help you focus on the things that matter the most. I try to take the most confusing things and make it as simple as possible so that you can understand. And the reason this is so important to me is because I'm a founder too. And when I first started out, Baby TK didn't know the difference between marketing and sales. Baby TK didn't know that while partners are super appealing and they'll meet with you, they really aren't going to trust you until you prove that you can go direct to the customer. So these are all things that help you avoid wasting months when you're trying to build a scalable go-to-market strategy. So if you're starting to see the power in this, you're starting to see the power of marketing and sales, inbound and outbound, and how they work together, and that's how you actually drive scale and how you want to actually avoid some of the common traps. If you're starting to see the power in this, if you're starting to get excited on how to put all this together, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, if you're in this stage where you have initial revenues and you're looking to scale and you want to actually build out a scalable go-to-market machine using these key channels and driving actual scale in your SaaS business, this is how I help inside of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. I'll link to it below. Right now, let's go to principle number 3 that brings it all together. The way to bring all this together, if you really, really want to go direct to your ideal customers and turn them into real revenue and real customers, there's a few things that you can do. The first thing you really want to do is focus on inbound social. This is the best way to generate demand right now. Most likely, your ideal customers are already hanging out on certain platforms. So the most important thing for you to do is start engaging with them on social in a certain way so that they actually become leads. As they are doing this, they're going to know about you. You'll know exactly what's resonating with them. And as you start to learn more and they're starting to engage with you, then you can spin up outbound with email and calling and go to these ideal customers. By the time you're doing that, they will have already heard about you because they're also seeing you online. And as you get these things going and it all starts to click, then you can actually start to spin up ads with certainty and scale the messaging that's working so that more leads are coming inbound to you. And as they're coming inbound, you're going to them and they already know about you, so they're engaging with you faster to turn into real customers. That's what's working the best in SaaS right now. Now, there's a catch here. All of these things that I just talked about is execution. And there's a big difference between strategy versus execution. Execution is what you do. So it may be posting on social media. It may be sending that cold email or that cold call or running ads. That is all execution. Strategy is how you go about doing it. There's a few things you want to do before you execute on these things. The first thing you really want to flesh out is, who is my ideal customer? We call this an ideal customer profile. The more clear you are about who your ideal customer is, the more effective your go-to-market is going to be. The more vague you are, the more diluted everything is going to be. It's a noisy world out there. There's lots of people posting, running ads, cold calling, cold emailing. You're not going to stand out if you don't get focused on who your ideal customer profile is. The second thing that you really want to nail down in your strategy before you start executing is what I call your manifesto. Your manifesto is your messaging. It's the unique message you deliver to your ideal customers so they understand what problem you solve, what the transformation is, and why your solution is 10 times better than anything else in the market. There's a very specific way to craft this message. I call this a strategic narrative. And when you work with me, I teach you how to craft a manifesto that really stands out when you're doing social or ads or cold emailing or cold calling. And that's super important. Once you do those two things, the third thing is to plot out what I call your Broadway show. Your Broadway show is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you're going to execute on. You want to be intentional about what you're doing. So you don't want to just start with outbound. You want to start with inbound. So by the time you go into outbound, they've already seen your stuff and they trust you a little bit more. That's a part of a Broadway show. You want to choose the right platform. You want to post it in the right way. You don't want to waste a bunch of money on ads and an agency until you've proven out your content and your messaging. That's all Broadway show strategy. So those are all things you want to flesh out in the strategy first and then get into execution. And that is how you scale. So now let's recap. In order to go from your current set of revenues to that next stage of growth, you need to adopt a scalable go-to-market framework and strategy. Now, there are different ways to actually go to market. The key here is more of your ideal customers know about you today than they did yesterday, more tomorrow than they do today. In order to do that, you can do inbound, outbound, or partners. So as you're getting into this, avoid the common traps. Partners aren't going to trust you until you're really at scale. So don't waste time on them right now. What you want to focus on is start with inbound, spin that up, and then spin up outbound. And when you're doing outbound, don't just spam people, be very targeted. And by the time you're going to them, make sure they've already heard of you. That's the power of doing both marketing and sales, the one-to-many plus the one-to-one. As you're putting all this together, before you hire that lead gen agency, before you spend money on ads, before you actually write content or do outbound, make sure you figure out your go-to-market strategy. Your go-to-market strategy should have your ideal customer profile, should have your manifesto, and your Broadway show. Once you have those three pieces, then you can execute. And as you do it, you can keep iterating as you scale. And that's everything that you need to know to actually scale your SaaS business. Now, what you may not know is, TK, how do I build out an ideal customer profile? What does that look like? Everyone thinks they have one until they work with me. I follow a 29-point framework to actually build out your ideal customer profile. You may be wondering, TK, how do I really create a differentiated message? So by the time we're posting online or doing outbound or even approaching partners, people can tell the difference about what we do versus all these other people in the market or all my competitors. You may be wondering, TK, people aren't fully aware of the problem that we're solving. We need to educate them on it. How do we do that? You may also be wondering, TK, how do I post online and generate leads instead of just a bunch of likes? How do I make sure I'm not just a broke influencer? Or TK, I hired a fractional CMO CMO and they did a bunch of branding work. I didn't get any leads and revenue. How do I actually make this work? You may also be wondering, TK, how do I do outbound along with the inbound so we can get the one-to-many and the one-to-one going? So if you're wondering these things and you want to work together to actually implement this framework, this is why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of this program, we focus on 3 core pillars. The first pillar is building out your ideal customer profile. Once you built out your ideal customer profile, then I work with you to actually build out your manifesto. The manifesto is your unique way to differentiate yourself in the market, to actually structure the messaging so you stand out in all of these channels. Once you have the ICP and the manifesto, you have your strategy, then comes the Broadway show. This is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you can run to bring your manifesto to your ICP on a consistent basis, generate leads, and convert that to revenue. You do these 3 things, you'll have a scalable go-to-market strategy. You'll be able to execute on it, and I'll teach you how to collect the right data. So as it's working, you're iterating, and then you can actually scale to the next stage of growth. It is an incredible program. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we've worked with over 250 founders in the 4 years I've been coaching founders in this program. It's an incredible program. So if you want to work together, just go to tkkader.com/GTM. tkkader.com/GTM. And on that page, you'll get all of the details. The better the fit, the better the results. So in order to make sure that there's the right fit here, we ask that you fill out a little form, book a time with us. On the call, we'll figure out where you are, what your goals are. And if it's a fit, it sounds like I can help inside of the go-to-market program, we're off to the races right away. Founders that join the program are able to revamp their go-to-market strategy and start testing it in the market within 3 weeks of joining. And after the 3 weeks, I'll teach you how to collect the data, and we'll look at it together after that, and we'll iterate on it and drive to scale. It's an incredible program, so just go to tkkader.com/GTM for all the details and to book a call. If you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And so do we. We put a lot of love into these videos. Also, if you have a fellow founder, a team member, if you're part of a Slack group, a WhatsApp group, other founders that are looking to scale their companies, please share this video with them. We want to help as many SaaS founders as possible in building incredible software companies. Also, I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. The reason I say from the trenches is because I've actually done this. I've done this for my own company. I've scaled that company. I've exited that company. I helped exit the company that bought my company. I've then started to coach. Over the last 4 years, I've coached over 250 plus founders. I continue to coach founders. And even now, I'm actively scaling 2 SaaS companies. So I'm in the trenches with you, and I get the pattern recognition across all these SaaS companies. So that's why I'm from the trench, and that's why I'm passionate about this. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market Coaching Program. Take care, everybody.